The Yamaha Niken, everybody. Welcome back to another video on this awesome tricycle. Now I've got to be very careful when I'm shooting the intros on this thing because I keep wanting to call it a motorcycle, which it isn't. This is a three-wheeler, it's a trike, but when you're in the cockpit, it feels exactly like a motorcycle when you're riding it. Now with that in mind, you guys, the niche nature of this bike, the niche audience that this motorcycle is trying to cater for, if you were to buy one of these, would you get bored of it? You will have to forgive me in advance, you guys, if I do call this a bike or a motorcycle, because I'm very much aware that it isn't, but at the same time I can't help that it just feels like a bike to ride. Feels like a motorcycle. What can I say? You know, it's got the engine of a motorcycle, it's got the frame of a motorcycle. The only real difference is what's going on at the front end. And to be honest with you, the front end doesn't really make it feel too different either. So it's just one of those things, you guys. That we shot our ride review earlier. I'm absolutely certain that I called this a motorcycle. I called it a bike. Even though, yeah, it's a three-wheeler, right? I'm very much aware it's a three-wheeler, okay? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, you guys. Like, when I think about what audience this bike is trying to capture, you know, who Yamaha were trying to sell this bike to, it's probably quite a small group of riders. I don't know. I did mention in our ride review that in the UK, you used to be able to ride this bike on a full driving license, which would have opened up the market for this massively for Yamaha. But unfortunately, it looks like the rules have changed on that, and well, now you have to have a motorcycle license to ride this, which is unfortunate because it does make the group of people who would be interested in buying something like this much narrower. But the funny thing is that, look, I'm a bike guy. I'm a motorcycle guy through and through. I have ridden trikes and I've ridden quad bikes before, but obviously with the wheels on the rear as opposed to the wheels on the front. And the thing is, with that in mind, that is why this feels like a motorcycle to ride. It doesn't feel like a trike, because with a trike you've got to be sitting upright. You've got to turn the handlebars, you know, and kind of like keep the bike as upright as possible, or keep the trike or the quad as upright as possible. But with this, you don't have to do that. With this, you can lean it over just like any motorcycle would, which for me is so weird, yet it feels so natural. From a motorcyclist perspective, this feels so natural. But yeah, it's got that odd sensation at the start, you know, when you start riding it. The thing is, you guys, like, I genuinely don't think that this bike would be anywhere near as good as it is if it didn't have this CP3 engine. If it didn't have this M209 engine, I don't know if we'd be having the same conversation as what we're having today. Maybe if it had like the MT10 engine in it, you know, the R1 engine, maybe that would have been an even better match for this trike. But honestly, this is such a perfect engine for this machine. The thing is, like, the front end of it is when you think about it, it's a gimmick, but it's a practical gimmick. All right, there's actually some practical reasons for having two wheels on the front, and that is mainly the fact that you're getting extra grip, you're getting extra stopping power, you're getting extra surface area. So in terms of safety, you know, trusting the machine with grip and what have you, is arguably one of the best bikes you'll ever ride, so to speak. But this is genuinely a very, very good bike. And I'm going to say bike because I can't be bothered to say trike all the time, alright? If I remember to say trike, I'll say trike. But this is a very, very good machine to ride, genuinely. And look, I have an MT-09 at home, you guys. I own an MT-09. It's 2020, 2021 model, is it, or 2022? I can't remember. I think it's 2022. So it's a refreshed engine than the one that's in this. I think mine's got like an 889cc triple, whereas this is an 847cc triple, I believe, if I remember correctly. And no, it doesn't feel like an MT-09 to ride this. It's not quite as... what's the word? Gearish. The MT-09 is a sick bike. It's an amazing bike, and it's just... it's such a hooligan-like riding experience. It's hooligan heaven, that bike. And this bike, even though it has the same engine, it doesn't feel quite as hooligan-like, yet you're getting all of that torque and all of that horsepower. And it is sick. It's amazing. And considering how much weight this bike is having to shift around, 263 kilograms wet, that's so much weight, and yet this CP3 engine takes it like a champ, honestly. It pushes this bike along the road so well, and it doesn't feel like you're missing out on power or anything like that. Not really. Not really. And in a straight line, 0 to 60, this is probably either on par or maybe even a little bit quicker than the MT-09, because the front end is on the ground. You're able to keep the front end on the ground of this bike very, very easily than compared with the MT-09. Anyway, I want to dedicate a specific video to that a little bit later on today, but I have to highlight the similarities, because there are lots of similarities in terms of the enjoyment factor. The riding experience is different and unique on this bike, but the experience, the enjoyment, is very similar. This is genuinely a fun trike to ride. And I didn't think I'd say that, you guys. Now, of course, when the novelty wears off, I mean, how would you feel about it then? Oh, it's so interesting, because so riding this bike to Fraser's, who very kindly gave me this bike today to show it off to you guys. Huge thank you to them. On my way in, I was riding my FZ6, my Yamaha FZ6. And from a riding position point of view, it's very, very similar between the two bikes. But I'm very curious how I'm going to feel riding the FZ back home when I've just gotten off this. Because, you know, getting used to this, it feels a bit odd to begin with, but then after you've ridden it a little bit, you've ridden it for a few miles, it feels very natural, feels very good, very solid, you know. But I'm curious how different it's going to feel when I'm actually on two wheels again. It's going to be such a strange sensation. Maybe I might document it on my way back home. I don't know. We'll see. But see, the thing is, the novelty of this bike doesn't really wear off, to be honest with you. I mean, there are some drawbacks with the width of the front end. It does make it a bit more difficult doing the everyday kind of motorcycle stuff that you would normally do, like filtering, but it's totally doable. I've been pleasantly surprised at how capable this bike has been doing the everyday commuting stuff. And to be honest, as a daily rider, I'm struggling to find that many flaws with it, to be brutally honest with you guys. It doesn't feel heavy, even though on the spec sheet it is a heavy bike. It doesn't feel heavy, it feels nimble. Not quite as nimble as a two-wheeler, but it still feels very nimble nonetheless. And so, like, all in all, it's very difficult for me to complain about this bike when it feels great to ride. See, I imagine that this feels quite similar to the Tracer in a lot of respects. I don't know, man. Maybe not. Maybe the Tracer feels more like an MT-09 than this. I don't know, but this is genuinely very, very good, you guys. Surprisingly good. Over the long term, because These are expensive bikes. By the way, this very bike you can buy at Fraser's for 8 grand. Considering how much these were brand new, that's a killer deal, you guys. Killer deal. If you live in the Gloucestershire area or surrounding counties here in the UK, you guys gotta check them out. And when you do, don't forget to say hello from me. But especially if you're looking to buy one of these bikes. And that's the problem, is that how many of us would be looking to buy this? Like, unless people like me and other social media creators do content on this, how else would you hear about it? You know, what would entice you to buy it? Well, a couple of things. So the engine, the CP3 MT09 engine, just honestly an absolute masterclass, and genuinely perhaps one of the best engines ever made. Alright, so it's got that going for it. But yeah, the novelty, the uniqueness of it. It's a very unique bike to look at. And well, I think I have to say it, you guys, I think it rides a little bit better than just any old motorcycle. Especially because the suspension is tunable as well, so you can give it more of a softer, more glidey kind of experience. And you can do that on the rear as well. The pillion has a little handle there that they can twist to soften or harden the suspension, which is pretty cool. So I think for the niche for this, you guys, alright, the person who'd be looking to buy this is a sport touring enthusiast. Now again, there's a problem with that, because there are loads and loads of, quite frankly, amazing sport touring bikes out there. Genuinely amazing. Like, some of the best bikes ever made are sport touring bikes. Would I put this up there alongside those bikes? I don't know. We'll have to you'll have to wait for the next video that I shoot on this bike, because I will be shooting one more today. But as a sport touring bike, it's very, very good. And you can absolutely ride it like a hooligan. Genuinely ride this bike like a hooligan. You'll have loads and loads of fun with it. And that's the thing. This bike is for quite a conservative rider, which is very interesting, because that engine is far from conservative, far from sensible. The engine in this bike is hooligan heaven. So it does give you a taste of what that experience is like. It's so difficult to describe, you guys, because as much as I understand this a three-wheeler, it feels so much just like any other sport touring motorcycle, that unless it is in those circumstances where you have wet, soggy, greasy road conditions, then, like, I don't know. Oh, the trash control kicked in there a little bit, annoyingly. Might have to turn it off and see how, see if I can pull a little wheelie on this bike. But now that the road conditions are getting a little bit drier, I can show you kind of like what this bike is like in the twisties, because it's actually better than you'd expect. Oh man, it's so weird, you guys. Oh yeah, it's not like an MT09 in that regard, where it will allow you to pick up the front end with the traction control on, which is a shame. Let's see if I can turn it off whilst on the move. Will it let me? No, it won't. Okay. I'll pull over and turn it off, and we'll see how it behaves then. But yeah, you can ride this bike like a hooligan, and you can ride like any old motorcycle, but you've got the added benefit of having all that extra grip, all that extra surface area. So if you are quite a safety conscious rider, this is arguably one of those bikes that might be a really good bike for you. And maybe as an introduction to motorcycles, this might be a really good bike to get involved with. You know, if you're doing your direct access and you're not quite 100% sure on the whole leaning aspect of a motorcycle, well, this gives you that leanability, but with loads of stability as well. You know, when you lean the bike over, you get very confidence inspiring, but also like when you're just riding in a straight line as well, it's quite uncanny. All right, let's see what happens, shall we? Okay, little wheelie pop there. Let's try one more. Okay. So what I mean, how much stability you've got on this bike, it's insane. Let's try one more. Okay. little wheelie pop there, but the funny thing is that this bike gives you so much confidence when you're picking up the front end, because you can pretty much just like 100% on the throttle in first gear and you'll pick it up. Oh, it's so great that the road conditions have improved. Oh, that was a little bit of a back in there. Let's try one more. Sorry, this is addictive. Let's try one more. Alright, here we go. Oh, come on. Let's try again. I'm losing a little bit of grip where the road is starting to get a little bit more greasy again. But yeah, honestly, taking this bike around bends, even in conditions where they're not perfect, you don't have to be like an expert motorcycle rider to ride this in non-perfect conditions. You still have so much grip at your disposal. And I suppose one question that we might want to ask, to try and be as transparent as possible here, you guys. Can you tip this bike over? Will it fall over like any other motorcycle? Yes, it will. So don't let the whole three-wheeler aspect of it fool you into thinking that you can just throw this bike into a bend and it won't tip over. It will tip over if you're not careful, right? So you do have to treat it with respect, but it will help you an awful lot in the twisties. Having the two wheels on the front, the extra grip, the extra stopping power of the brakes will help you an awful lot with your confidence, but don't take it too far. Alright, that's all I'll say. But all in all, you guys, I'm having so much fun on this bike, and because of that MT-09 engine, I genuinely don't think that this is a bike that you would ever get bored of. Seriously. Now, it does kind of depend on what level you're at riding wise. They might get to a point where you're like, if you've never ridden a two-wheeler before, that you're itching to get on a two-wheeler, and that's fair enough. So that might be the potential downfall to this trike here, is that want to experience two wheels as opposed to staying on three for your entire riding career. I don't know, maybe Yamaha at some point in the near future will look at releasing a different model of this with a different engine, which would be interesting to say the least. And that might be coming, I don't know. I suppose, because this is a bit of a risk for Yamaha. It's a bit of a, well, yeah, like, there's no guarantee that this was going to be a hit. And this has been out for how long now? I can't even remember how long Yamaha have been making this bike for. It's at least 6, 7, 8 years, maybe even 10 years they've been making it. So I don't know. If they did put an MT-10 engine in this, that would be very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. But, well, alas, we don't have an MT-10 engine variant of the Niken yet, as far as I'm aware. But I think for comfort, sport touring, long distance riding, this bike's very, very good. And even around the city riding, the commuting, also very, very good. And when you just want to have a blast on the weekends with your mates, also very, very good. There's so many great aspects about this bike, you guys, that it's just such a shame that people would look at the three wheels and get put off by it. The only reason why you may get bored of this is if you've never actually ridden a motorcycle before, a two-wheeler. Like this is your first big bike, your first kind of motorcycle-like riding experience. And well, the Yearn might be a bit too great to be on two wheels as opposed to three. However, if you have come from motorcycles, maybe you are an older rider, and let's be honest, riders are getting older, you guys, right? The average age of a rider, I think in the UK, is something like 50 years old. This caters to them quite well. But again, you know, older riders are quite sticklers, aren't they, for tradition, perhaps. So I don't know, maybe they wouldn't be interested in this. Oh, I swing it roundabouts, you guys, genuinely. There we go. That's a fairly decent one. Does feel like a lump that you're trying to hold up though, that's the only thing. But yeah, there you go. You absolutely can do that. I mean, that was just a throttle up as well. I'm sure that doing a clutch up would be even easier, but anyway, you guys, thank you ever so much for joining us today on our ride out on the awesome Yamaha Niken. If you have enjoyed it, like I said earlier, don't forget to leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and let us know what you think about this bike down in the comment section below, or this trike should I say, down in the comment section below. If you had experience with it, or why you would or wouldn't buy one of these, let me know, because I'm curious, because genuinely this has got all the niceties and the thrill of riding any other motorcycle, but with that added benefit of having the extra grip over the front end. I think it's quite a compelling bike, this, you guys. Trike. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, thank you again to Fraser's for letting me take this bike out for you guys. Let me show it off to you. And what are you guys doing? And yeah, like I said, you guys, this very bike is for sale right now at Fraser's. I don't know, it might be sold by the time this video comes out. Who knows? But yeah, if you're interested in buying it, check them out. If you live in the UK, check them out. 8 grand, you guys. And Fraser's right now are offering a 2-year extended warranty and a free MOT as well. So yeah, pretty good going, you guys. But thanks again, everyone. You take care, you ride safe. We'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.